section I'd like to call before hitting the court. And what this basically is it helps you set up your team in the way that you'd like them to play. A lot of people complain about their team not doing, what they want it to do or what they need to do. Well, this is one of the ways, not only in a quick game, but also in your association, and I'll show you that in a second, to help you better fit your team to what you want it to do. So here we go to features. Let's go to My NBA and let's go to team sliders. And let's just check out the first team that comes up, the 76ers. And each one of these things has something to do with not only simulating, but with actual gameplay with the user versus the computer. And we'll just start at the top. The game tempo, that's just self-explanatory. How fast do you want to go up and down the court? That also has something to do with fatigue. Crashing the boards, the more I put this up, the more that they'll go for the offensive boards when a shot attempt is up. However, the more you go for offensive boards, the less time you have, or the less number of people you have back on transition defense. Fast break, that is when the other team shoots, you get the ball off that rebound and you go. The higher you put this up, the more people go. Not only will your point guard get in position, but the higher you put this up, the shooting guard and the small forward will dip out, and leaving the power forward in the center to only be rebounders. The bad thing about this is the less people you have on the defensive rebound, the higher the chance of the other team getting the offensive rebound. So adjust that accordingly. The defensive pressure, self-explanatory. How tight do you want to hold the opponent? If you want to just force them to drive instead of shoot, then you put it up high. If you want to sag off, especially if they're not a good shooting team, put it down low. Defensive help strength and defensive recovery speed are pretty much the same thing, but they're slightly different. The help strength is how quickly do they come to your aid when you get beat off the dribble. The higher you put this up, the quicker they come. The recovery speed is how quick they get back to their man once that dribbler is contained. So if they get by you, then they help faster. The higher you put this up, and then the higher you put this up here is how they recover. So you want to adjust that accordingly. Pound the ball inside is more of a simulated thing. If you have good post players in simulation games, Dwight Howard, Tim Duncan, KG, those guys, then you want to put this high, especially if your focus are points in the paint. From post players. Settle for jumpers. If you got a good shooting team and your front court or your inside game isn't that good, then the offense will be settled around, or the offense will be focusing around jumpers for simulated games. The rely on three-point shot is for teams who have good three-point shooters. If anytime they feel like they're open in simulated games and they have a good shot at making a three-point bucket, that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to put it up. Attack the basket is also for simulation. That's pretty much self-explanatory. Finish strong inside is how much power they want to use inside, whether they go for a dunk almost every time or a layup. The higher you put this up is for dunking and power moves. The lower you put this down are for layups, trying to draw fouls, and finesse moves. Look for post players. Offensive structure wise in simulated games, prefer one-on-one play are for players who have good one-on-one skills. Your star players, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, those type of guys. Allen Iverson, more so simulation. Tend to over dribble, that is also simulation. Tend to over dribble is pretty much self-explanatory. How much will they actually over dribble when they're doing their one-on-one play? Use finesse inside is kind of a counter for finish strong inside. But if you are doing this with guards, the guards will try to weave their way through and try to avoid the block by using more finesse moves. Follow missed layups or missed shots, I'm sorry. As soon as they shoot, you'll see guys try to crash the boards, and not only are people who are crashing the boards who didn't shoot, but the guy who did shoot, especially inside the paint. Pass with flair, self-explanatory. The higher you put this up, simulations, the more that the point guards or people who can pass will pass with flair. Prone to foul. This is not a simulation thing only. This is also a user thing. If your guys are fouling too much, then put this down while you're playing. Then they will more likely go for the block instead of going for the block and the body. However, the lower you put this down, and if they're not good shot blockers, I found out that if they're not good shot blockers, then the other team can probably make easy jumpers around them or easy layups around them. So put that according to where you want to do it. Also, clog passing lanes. This is not a simulation thing. This is not a simulation thing. This is a user thing. And also, these two things are user things. The higher you put these up, the more that they'll obey what you put up. Reaching on defense, if you've got a good defensive steal team, then you can put this up. However, they might foul when you do it. Clogging the passing lanes is also the exact same thing. If you put this high, they will not be as easy to help recover. So put this at a good rate if you're getting beat with passes that can be easily picked off, but don't put it too high for your help defense will suffer. And then contest the shots. This is a total user thing. This can be put way high, anywhere from 75 to 90 if you like, so your guys can actually get some hands in the faces of the shooter, so you can disturb the shot and they not blast you every time. Also, let's just go real quick in the association mode, and I'll show you one more thing here and we'll be done with this. Alright guys, in association mode, you can also help yourself before you hit the court by going to coaching, game plan, strategy. This is basically a broken down version of what we just went through, what I was just explaining about all those team sliders. This is the broken down version. This is the easier version. You want to set this according to how you set your team sliders. You don't want an imbalance. You don't want your transition D to be all the way down here and then your team sliders crash the board way up here. You want to make a balance. You want to make them cooperate. So therefore you want to make them parallel so they'll cooperate more on the court. Alright?